Welcome back. Week 6, day number 3, Acts chapter number 4. It is the 12th of August. I hope that as you are midweek now, on Wednesday, that you are still refreshed and encouraged in the Lord for all the things that God has in store for you. Don't let the trials and the tribulations of life distract you or discourage you to the point that you don't walk around with hope. And so Acts chapter number 4, verse number 4, deals with some tribulation, but it deals with how we can respond. So watch this. Acts chapter 4, verse number 4 says, "But many of those who heard the message believed, and the number of men came to about 5,000. Now, Peter and the disciples of Christ are being criticized, being ridiculed, they're being detained because they're preaching Jesus. Not everybody's accepting or warm welcoming the message of Jesus Christ. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't share. We need to trust God and be faithful during those times. And watch what God will do. God explodes the church. And the scripture says that many who heard the message believed. And the number of men, now notice that. It says the number of men who believed were about 5,000. That is phenomenal. So what I'm looking at in this text is the scripture's pointing out that men were believing. We've seen something that's natural, unfortunately, to the course of society. And that is men can be absent a lot in key areas. We look at the amount of homes and how many fatherless homes there are. Some of you may be impacted by that. Or we look at the church and see how lack of involvement comes from men inside the local church. We ask, what's wrong with that picture? Well, right here, the scripture addresses that men, the scripture says 5,000, notice 5,000 are responding in the right way to the gospel. So here's how I just wrote down an application. Men, we are called to be spiritual leaders. So if you have a husband, if you're praying for a husband, understand this. Pray that they'll be spiritual leaders. We don't need just bodies occupying positions. In the local church and in the ministry of our homes, we need spiritual leaders. Men, if you're watching, we need to be spiritual leaders. And so I just wrote down under respond, what we need to do as Christians and as men in our churches is raise up more men to lead. It's biblical. It's God honoring. It's the way God set up the order in the home as well as in the church. It's so powerful. So pray for spiritual leaders and ask God to raise up men to serve Him.